You have been working a clutch lever since before some of these motorcycle companies even had a marketing department. Now you are staring at a bike with no clutch lever at all, or a system that barely needs one, and something in your gut says this feels like quitting. It is not. It is not cheating. It is not surrender, and it is not the first sign that your riding days are winding down. Stick around, because by the end of this, you will know exactly where you stand and exactly what to buy if you decide to make the move. Number 13. The real reason you are hesitating has nothing to do with the machine. Let us be honest with each other for a second, because most videos on this topic will not be. It is not really about whether the transmission shifts smoothly or whether the engineering is sound. It is about identity. You have spent decades being the guy who can feather a clutch through a tight parking lot without stalling, the guy who can heel-toe downshift into a corner without thinking about it, the guy other riders trust to lead the group because you have never dropped a bike at a stoplight. Somewhere along the way, that skill became part of who you are, not just something you know how to do. And now here comes a machine suggesting you might not need that skill anymore. And some part of your brain reads that as a demotion. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Pride is a terrible reason to make a decision about your own body and your own safety. Nobody at the bike night is handing out medals for clutch feel. The guy parked next to you on a D.C.T. Africa Twin is not thinking any less of himself, and he is definitely not thinking any less of you. There is also a quieter fear hiding underneath the pride, the fear of judgment, the worry that other riders will look at an automatic bike in your garage and assume you have lost a step. Almost nobody says this out loud, but it drives a huge number of decisions in this hobby. And consider this too. The highest level of motorcycle racing on the planet, MotoGP, is built entirely around seamless, computer-assisted gear changes, because the best riders alive have decided that shaving milliseconds off a shift matters more than the ritual of working a clutch by hand. If the fastest, most skilled motorcyclists on Earth do not treat automated shifting as some kind of concession, why should a Tuesday afternoon ride to the hardware store be held to a stricter standard? If pride and identity are the invincible wall, our next problem is a simple vocabulary mix-up, and it might be the bigger obstacle of the two. Almost every rider pictures a twist-and-go scooter the second the word automatic comes up, and that wrong mental picture alone kills the conversation before it even starts. Number 12. What automatic even means on a modern bike? It is not what you think. Here is where a lot of riders get it wrong before they even watch a single review. They picture a scooter, a twist and go with a continuously variable belt drive, no gear feel, and honestly, not much soul. That is not what we are talking about here, and lumping the two together is the single biggest misunderstanding in this entire conversation. Modern automatic options on real full-size motorcycles use systems like Honda's dual-clutch transmission, known as DCT, and the newer Honda e-clutch. These are not lawnmower transmissions bolted onto a bike as an afterthought. They are precision-engineered gearboxes developed by the same manufacturer that builds championship-winning race machines, and the underlying mechanical hardware, the actual gears, shafts, and clutch plates, is largely the same hardware found in the manual version of the bike. Nothing about the power delivery is watered down. These are also not Jew unproven experiments. Honda has been refining DCT on production motorcycles for well over a decade now, across adventure bikes, cruisers, and touring machines. It is a mature system that has quietly earned its place. What changes between manual and automatic is who decides when the gear change happens and how much physical effort that decision requires from your left hand. What does not change is horsepower, torque, top speed, or the fundamental character of the engine underneath you. Under that one word, automatic, are two completely different systems wearing the same label. Imagine standing in front of a bike you want, the seller swearing it's perfect. That's where riders overpay by thousands on a $10,000 bike. Our buyer's kit tells you what it's really worth, your fair price, and when to walk away. A wrong bike costs thousands. This kit, just $49. The easiest money you'll ever save. Scan the QR on the right or tap the link in the description. Let's get that bike you've always wanted for even cheaper. Up next is the one most riders have actually heard of, Honda's dual clutch transmission, and what it feels like in the saddle is nothing like what the name suggests. If this is already making you rethink things, hit that subscribe button right now, because we are just getting started. Number 11, what DCT actually feels like in the saddle. Forget the spec sheet for a moment and think about the feeling, because that is what actually matters when you are sitting on the bike. With DCT, the transmission has two separate clutches working simultaneously in the background, one handling the odd-numbered gears and one handling the even-numbered gears. As you accelerate, the system pre-selects the next gear on the opposite clutch before you even need it, then swaps between them in a fraction of a second. The result is a gear change with virtually no interruption in power delivery, no lurch, no dead spot, no clunk. In full automatic mode, you simply twist the throttle and the bike shifts for you, reading your speed, your throttle input, and even your lean angle to choose the right gear at the right moment. And here is the part that surprises longtime riders the most. You are not locked into automatic. You can flip the system into manual mode at any moment and use paddle shifters mounted right on the left handlebar, tapping up or down through the gears exactly when you want to. It is not one or the other. It is both available whenever you decide you want it. DCT hands the whole clutch job over to a computer. Our next system does the exact opposite. It leaves the lever sitting right there under your fingers and quietly does something most riders would never guess a clutch lever could do. Number 10, what e-clutch feels like and why it is a completely different animal. Now here is where a lot of people get confused, because e-clutch is not the same system as DCT, and the feeling on the bike is genuinely different. With e-clutch, you still have a physical clutch lever sitting right there on the handlebar, exactly where it has always been, doing absolutely nothing unless you decide to grab it. The bike manages clutch engagement electronically for you during takeoff from a stop and during every gear change. That means no more stalling at a red light, no more embarrassing lurch in a crowded parking lot, and no more constant clutch modulation wearing down your hand on a long commute. But here is the important part. Grab that lever yourself for any reason, at any moment, and it hands full manual control right back to you instantly. No warning light, no delay, no fuss. DCT removes the physical lever entirely and replaces the whole job with an automatic gearbox that thinks for itself. E-clutch keeps the lever exactly where it has always lived, but takes the stress and the risk of stalling out of using it. Two completely different philosophies solving two slightly different problems. One system removes the lever, the other keeps it and diffuses it. Neither one matters yet though, because next we are leaving the showroom talk behind entirely for something a lot more personal, the actual physical reason most riders end up here in the first place. Number 9, the physical situations where automatic becomes the smart move. Let us talk honestly about your knees, your left hand, and your shoulder, because this is where the real conversation actually lives, underneath all the pride and identity talk from earlier. If you have arthritis flaring up in cold weather, if your grip strength is not quite what it was 20 years ago, or if a long commute leaves your clutch hand aching by the time you pull into the driveway, that is not a small inconvenience you should just grit your teeth and push through. That is your body sending you clear information, and ignoring it does not make it go away. Constant clutch and shift work at stoplights, in traffic, and through parking lots is repetitive strain, plain and simple, the same category of wear and tear that affects anyone doing the same small motion thousands of times a week. It adds up quietly over the years, and most riders do not notice how much it has cost them until a particularly long ride makes it impossible to ignore. A stiff, aching left hand, 30 miles from home is not a character test. It is a warning sign. Riders who switch to DCT or e-clutch in this exact situation are not giving anything up in terms of skill, control, or riding ability. They are removing the one variable that was quietly working against how many more years they get to keep doing the thing they love. A slightly different left-hand routine now, in exchange for genuinely more decades of riding later, is not a compromise. It is closer to a loophole. A tired left hand is a warning sign, not a character test. But your joints are not running this show alone, because next up is the other half of the equation. the specific riding conditions where a clutch lever quietly becomes dead weight. Number 8. The riding situations where automatic genuinely shines. Beyond the purely physical side, think honestly about where and how you actually spend your time in the saddle these days. Stop and go traffic on the way to see the grandkids. Slow, technical U-turns in a crowded parking lot outside a diner. Long, droning interstate hauls where your hand just wants a break somewhere around hour 3. These are the exact scenarios where a clutch lever adds workload without adding any real reward. DCT in particular shines in these conditions because low-speed control is noticeably smoother and more predictable than most riders expect walking in skeptical. The system is constantly reading throttle input, road speed, and even inclined to choose the correct gear before you have even consciously thought about it. Picture backing a loaded touring bike down a sloped driveway or creeping through a gravel campground looking for your sight. Those are exactly the moments where DCT quietly does the harmonizing for you. There is also the weather to consider. A cold, damp morning start is when stiff fingers and a heavy clutch spring cooperate the least, and it is precisely when an automatic system removes the most friction from the first few miles of your ride. If most of your riding life these days happens in traffic, around town, or on long, straight highway stretches, rather than carving mountain switchbacks, every weekend, automatic is simply a tool matched more precisely to the job you are actually asking your motorcycle to do. Traffic, parking lots, and long highway hauls are where a clutch lever earns its keep the least. But our next entry flips this whole video on its head because there is a rider watching this right now who should close the tab on everything we just said and keep riding exactly how he always has. Number 7. When manual is still completely the right answer for you. Now let us flip the script completely because honesty has to go both ways here, or this whole video is just marketing wearing a helmet. If you still genuinely love the mechanical connection of working a clutch and rowing through a gearbox, if your hands, wrists, and knees give you zero trouble whatsoever, and if downshifting through a set of switchbacks on a good canyon road is one of the specific things that makes riding fun for you, there is absolutely no reason on earth to change a single thing about how you ride. Manual transmissions are not going anywhere. They are not somehow mechanically inferior, and choosing to stick with one is not a failure to keep up with the times. Plenty of riders in their 60s, 70s, and beyond are out there right now rowing through 6-speed gearboxes with zero discomfort and zero desire to change. For those riders, the clutch lever is not an obstacle to work around. It is part of the actual point. This is not a video telling you to abandon what you love just because the technology exists. It is a video telling you that an alternative exists for the day you might genuinely need one. And simply knowing that doors open costs you absolutely nothing today. Just do not let pride be the reason you close that door early if your hands or your knees ever start telling you a different story. If you have made it this far, drop a comment below and tell us honestly, manual or automatic, and more importantly, why. We read every single one. Manual is still the right call for plenty of riders, full stop. For everyone else, our next entry trades philosophy for a price tag, starting with the cheapest, most approachable automatic on this entire list. Number 6. The best automatic option under $10,000. Let us get practical, because at some point every decision framework has to land on an actual purchase, or it is just philosophy. If you want to dip a toe into automatic riding without draining the retirement fund, the Honda Rebel, 1100 DCT is the one to seriously look at. It carries a base price of $10,399, built around a torque-rich 1084cc parallel twin engine that shares its DNA with the Africa Twin platform, tuned here specifically for smooth, easy cruiser-style acceleration rather than outright speed. The seat height is low, the ergonomics are relaxed, and the whole bike is built around 𝗕𝗨𝗬𝗜𝗓 of comfortable, confident riding rather than intimidation. The DCT system lets you toggle between full automatic mode and paddle shift manual mode whenever the mood strikes. So on the days you want total simplicity, you get it, and on the days you feel like being more involved, that option is sitting right there on the handlebar. It is the entry point into this world that does not feel like an entry point, and it does not look like one either. Next up is its sportier cousin, a bike that swaps DCT for the other automatic system entirely and wraps it around AM engine with a lot more attitude. Number 5. The best automatic option for everyday versatility. If you want something with a bit more everyday usefulness and a slightly sportier personality, a Honda CB650R equipped with e-clutch is absolutely worth a serious look. It comes in at $8,699, powered by a punchy 649 cubic centimeters, liquid-cooled inline 4-cylinder engine that rewards a bit of throttle without ever feeling like more bike than you can handle. This ices the machine for the rider who still wants a genuine clutch. Lever sitting there under 2 fingers, still wants the option of full manual control whenever they feel like it, but wants the stalling risk and the constant low-speed hand fatigue engineered quietly out of everyday riding. It is the middle ground built specifically for someone who is not fully ready to give up the lever entirely, but who is more than ready for it to stop being a daily chore. And if neither of these two feels big enough for the kind of riding you are actually dreaming about, our next entry is built for a completely different kind of ambition. Number 4, the best automatic option for serious long-distance touring. And if distance, comfort, and genuine capability are the priority, the Honda Africa Twin D.C.T starts at $15,599. Under the bodywork sits a 1,084 cubic centimeters parallel twin engine delivering smooth, broad torque throughout the rev range, paired with a DCT system that offers genuinely refined low-speed control. Whether you are navigating a gravel driveway, a rest stop full of gawking tourists, or 6 consecutive hours of interstate, this is the machine for the rider who wants to keep covering serious mileage for years to come, without a tired left hand quietly deciding how far you actually get to go each day. Riders who have logged real interstate miles on this bike consistently point to the same thing. That automatic mode disappears into the background on long highway stretches, leaving nothing but the road and a set of hands that still feel fresh 6 hours in. Between these three, you have a genuine entry point, a versatile everyday middle ground, and a serious long-distance tour, all built by the same manufacturer with 2 different flavors of automatic technology at 3 very different price points. The Africa Twin is the one for riders who still measure a good year in miles, not months. But specs and price tags are not really the point of any of this. Picture it, you buy the bike. It looked clean. It sounded great. 3 weeks later, the bills start. A worn chain, tired forks, a service the seller never mentioned. That's thousands gone on a bike you already paid full price for. Our inspection checklist catches every one of those before you pay, walking the bike like a mechanic. Spend $49 now or lose thousands later. Scan the QR on the right or tap the link in the description. Don't let a hidden problem drain your wallet. And our next entry cuts all 3 of those bikes out of the conversation, entirely for the one question that actually decides everything. Number 3, the one question that actually matters. Forget every spec, every price tag, and every argument we have made so far for just a second. Here is the only question genuinely worth asking yourself once the dust settles. Does switching to automatic mean you get to keep riding longer, more comfortably, and more often than you otherwise would? If the honest answer is yes, then this was never really about giving something up at all. It was about trading one small piece of mechanical ritual, the clutch pull at every stoplight, for more actual years spent in the saddle doing the thing you love. That is not a downgrade in any sense that matters. That is arguably the smartest trade a serious, self-aware rider can make, and making it deliberately with your eyes open is about as far from cheating as it gets. If that landed for you even a little, hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps this video reach the next rider out there, quietly asking themselves the exact same question you just worked through. Answering that question honestly is one thing. Actually trusting your own answer is another matter entirely. And our next entry deals with the single biggest reason riders talk themselves out of a decision they already know is right. Number 2, Do not trust your gut until you have actually ridden one. Here is something nobody tells you before you show up at a dealership, already half convinced 𝗕𝗏𝗬𝗜 is not for you. Sitting on a DCT or 𝗕𝗨𝗬𝗜𝗔 bike in a showroom and forming an opinion is about as useful as judging a steak by reading the menu. The feeling only shows up once the wheels are actually turning, once you are easing through a parking lot without your hand doing a single thing, once you roll onto a highway on-ramp and realize the bike already grabbed the gear you needed 3 seconds before you would have reached for it yourself. Most major Honda dealers offer demo rides on both DCT and 𝗕𝗨𝗬𝗜𝗔 models, and a lot of riders who walked in certain they would hate it have walked out asking about financing instead. Do not let a skeptical gut feeling formed in a parking lot with the engine off make a decision that only makes sense once the engine is actually running. Book the demo ride before you book an opinion. And if the demo ride does not convince you right away, here is the part that should finally put your mind completely at ease, because this decision is a lot less permanent than you have been treating it. Number 1, this decision is not permanent, so stop treating it like one. This is the single biggest myth keeping riders stuck in place. The idea that choosing automatic is some kind of one-way door, a permanent admission that your manual days are over for good. It is not. Trade the bike back in 2 years from now if you change your mind. Keep your old manual bike in the garage right alongside the new one if you want both. Ride the DCT on the days your hands feel stiff and the 6-speed on the days they do not if you happen to own both. Nobody is confiscating your manual license, your muscle memory, or your right to change your mind next season. The whole point of this decision is flexibility, not a permanent label stapled to your identity. Riders treat this choice like a wedding vow when it is really closer to trying a new restaurant. If you do not love it, you go back to the old one next week. No harm done, no explanation required to anyone. This was never about riding less like a rider. It was about riding longer as one, for more years, more miles, and more mornings than pride alone would have allowed. Every rider on this list, the DCT rider, the 𝗕𝗨𝗬𝗜𝗔 rider, and the lifelong manual rider, is still doing the exact same thing at the end of the day, still choosing to swing a leg over a motorcycle instead of staying home in a recliner. That choice is what actually defines a serious rider, not which lever happens to be under your left hand. Whatever you ultimately decide, clutch lever or no clutch lever, DCT, 𝗕𝗨𝗬𝗜𝗔, or 6 honest manual gears, the road genuinely does not care what is happening in your left hand. It only cares that you keep showing up for it. Now click on the next video on your screen and let us help you find the best type of motorcycle that works for you.